駆け抜け青春スパーキング。遠野、おはよう。
Morning, Senpai. Wait, huh? Senpai seemed like her usual self. My heart had been racing like crazy, especially after what happened yesterday. Maybe Hibiki and Hijiri came to bat for me after all. It depends on what you mean. Whatever the case, I was grateful that things weren't awkward between us. I mean, I guess? It's not like... I mean, technically, they clarified that you didn't actually... They clarified that when you said, we would never be dating, you didn't mean that you would never date her. So, you know...
何を一人でブツブツ言ってるのよ。ところで、昨日貸したブルーレイは見てくれた？
Yeah, I watched both. I'm sure the waves were also good. But how do you go about getting air like that? Especially the second aerial move. That one got me so worked up, I started yelling at my bedroom TV.
あれ、ほんとすごいわよね。あれに挑戦するつもりなんだけど、私にできるかどうか。でも、難しいだけに挑戦のしがいもあるのよね。
Yeah, she seemed like her usual ordinary self. Now that her secret was out, we could openly discuss surfing with the rest of the youth collective. Additionally, the surfboard she had left in my care was now back at the club room. But it's kind of too bad.
どうの？何か言った？
No, nothing. What was I sputtering about, anyway? It wasn't like I could say, it's too bad you can talk about surfing so openly now.
と、そろそろ部活が始まる時間ね。続きはまた後で。もう一つのブルーレイに入ってた基本の練習の話でもしましょう。おーっと、カイドウ先輩、ちょっといいっすか？どうかしたの、ひじり？カイドウ先輩ってサーフィンやってるんすよね？そうよ。
I had thought she was going to be defiant, but apparently not. She started mumbling to herself following Hijiri's question.
それがどうかした？どれくらいの腕前なのかなと思ったんす。素人に毛が生えたくらいじゃないかしら。それでも好きでいろいろ技は試したりしてるけど。マジっすか？じゃあ、このボードを使ってならどうすか？それ、最新のサーフスケートじゃない！
The senpai exclaimed when she noticed the board Hijiri was holding. Wait, a skate surfer? This wasn't a skateboard. What is this? It just looks like a skateboard to me.
分類的にはそれで合ってるっすよ。これはちょっとトラック部分、車輪のあたりが固定されてなくて遊びがあるのよ。だからサーフィンみたいなライディングができるの。
Oh, you're right. They were moving around like crazy.
私も古いサーフスケートを持ってるから乗ったことはあるわ。
Oh, senpai, you have a skate surfer?
体幹トレーニングに良さそうって言ったらお父さんが買ってくれたのよ。実際体幹もちゃんと鍛えられるしね。
Is that also why Hibiki likes skating around everywhere? Oh, like your Aikido training. Considering the wheels could shift, it seemed almost difficult. It seemed more difficult than a regular skateboard. By the looks of it, she actually did have a well-honed sense of balance.
そういうことで多少なら乗り慣れてるわ。多分簡単な技ならできると思う。やっぱりっすか。
So it's not because of her Aikido training that she's so good at surfing. It's because of the skate surfer that she used to aid in her Aikido training that made her so good at surfing.
じゃあやってみせてほしいっす。それは。
She didn't look especially enthused about the idea. And she was opposed to talking about surfing with the others from the get-go. She may have been resistant to this too. As long as you're at it, I'd like to see too. Senpai, would you mind showing us how you do some tricks?
まあ、遠野がそう言うなら。うわ、ちょろいっす。なんか言った？
Kika, I don't know why are you complaining how easy it is after you mentioned that he would like to see her do some tricks when you literally comforted her along with Hibiki yesterday about how Nagiko likes you and how you probably likes Nagiko.
なんでもないっす。じゃあ、早速やってもらってもいいっすか？ちょっと待って。やるのはともかく、さすがに室内じゃ無理よ。
Let's head outside then.
何するの？皆さんでどこかへ行かれるのでしょうか？
They noticed something was going on from their side of the room and jumped in on the conversation.
ちょっとしたお遊びっすよ。カイドウ先輩にこのサーフスケートに乗ってもらうっす。へえ、面白そうね。私も行くわ。では、私もご一緒します。響と鹿島まで。わかったわ。こうなったら腹をくくってやってやろうじゃない。
Yeah, she only wants it to be you that watches her. She hyped herself up and clenched her fist. Senpai seemed to have made a complete breakthrough when it came to surfing. Oh. The senpai handled her skate surfer and went airborne. And she didn't just launch herself. She nailed her landing after rotating the board in midair. Oh, okay. No, I get what they're trying to say. She nailed her landing after rotating the board in midair. An air reverse with rotation baked in.
すごいっす。え？嘘！今何やったの、ナギ？よっしゃ！トーノン見た？ちゃんと成功してたわよね。
See? Nagiko only cares about you watching her. You nailed it, senpai. She had performed the same trick that female surfer from the Blu-ray had performed. The move was nothing short of sensational. I felt compelled to research how it was done until I was sure I'd figured it out. Of course, there would be differences on land versus on waves. Well, yeah, because at least on land, there is a consistent. There's less variability. You know, let's go with that. It's less variable, right? You're less reliant on the weather, even though you can still be reliant on weather when it comes to skating. But you know, when it's surfing, the impact would be entirely different if she did it on the water, because it'd be harder and more impressive. But she had definitely matched the trick's form, especially because a surfboard is also bigger than a skateboard.
よっしゃ！響き、どうよこれ！すごいわ、ナギ！昨日サーフィンをやってるって初めて聞いたけど、海の上でも今みたいなのバンバン決めてんの？さすがにバンバンは無理よ。あっちは波次第なところもあるし、私自身まだまだだし。でも、とてもすごかったです。サーフィンってとても迫力があるんですね。甘いわ、鹿島。本当のサーフィンはこんなもんじゃないんだからね。水しぶきが巻き上がってすっごい綺麗なんだから。わあ、そうなんですね。
She was riding off the high from her success of sticking the landing. And she was opening up about surfing to both Hibiki and Kashima, just as she had done with me. Was it selfish of me to feel lonely?
カイドウ先輩、他の技はできるっすか？他の？そうね。さっきのよりは難易度が落ちてもいいなら。じゃあ、最高に映える感じでお願いするっすよ。映え？なんかこう、かっこいい感じでお願いするってことっす。そう、わかったわ。
She got on the skate surfer and gradually began to pick up speed. She took in a deep breath, pulling the strength in her lower legs. And then...
Huh?
She jumped even higher than she previously had. It's a frontside straight air, but it's high.
うわー、すっごー。あんなに高く飛び上がれるんですか？はぁ、すごいわね、このサーフスケート。今まで使ってたのより思った通りに動くというか、これ使えば誰でも今のくらいできるんじゃないかしら。
No way, not happening. I doubted I could manage it, at the very least.
私もこれは無理な気がします。悔しいけど私もその意見には同意だわ。ナギ、すごいじゃない。そうかな。
Senpai's face flushed bright red when everyone showered her with compliments. She was ridiculously adorable.
いやー、これは想像以上だったっす。ってことで、ポチッとな。ひじり、何したの？さっきの飛ぶやつ、イニスタのストーリーズにアップしたっす。それはやめて！そこまではまだ覚悟できてないから。大丈夫っすよ。24時間で消えちゃう仕様なんで。24時間？それならまあ。
Kato seemingly reluctantly consented. Despite her embarrassment, she didn't seem entirely dissatisfied by it. That had to be just how proud she was of the aerial she'd landed earlier.
ねえナギ、次は私もやってみたい。私も少しだけ興味あります。うん。じゃあまずはライディングの練習からね。遠野もするでしょ？
Yeah, I guess I'll give it a shot. After that, we took turns having fun on the skate surfer. Everyone was now in on Senpai's secret, and she hadn't looked the least bit upset about that all day.
ナギ、今日はとてもグッドだったわ。バッチリかっこいいところを見せつけられたはずよ。遠野先輩の視線も釘付けだったっす。そう？だったらいいんだけど。でも、これで安心しちゃダメ。畳み込むの。続けて作戦第2弾に行こうっすね。わかったわ。駆け抜け青春スパーキング。
Oh, it's just you, Senpai?
ええ、そうよ。
That's strange. Hibiki told me to meet up early today. I looked around the club room, but didn't spot anyone other than Kaido. Kaido and you are the only ones in the room. Again. And, well, yesterday you could excuse it by them both being early, alright, but this time you was called here to, you was told to come here early.
そうね。私もそう言われたんだけど。
Maybe she's late. If that's it, it's weird that neither Kashima or Hiragi are here. Yeah? You haven't heard anything from them?
いえ、何も知らないわ。
Yeah, Daiko, do you know something that you doesn't? Really? Maybe something related to the conversation you had with Hibiki and Nagiko, Hibiki and Kiko? She is Nagiko.
もちろんよ。本当に何も知らないから。
I see. You don't need to deny it so hard. I wasn't going to be suspicious of you either way. If anything, that was way dodgy to me. ...
そうだ。ねえ、トノ、お腹空いてない？
Huh? She changed subjects to try and avoid something or other. It's not lunchtime yet, but I could eat. Hibiki told me to come straight here and to not worry about lunch.
そっか。実はさ、お弁当一つ余ってるんだけど。
Huh? Really? Oh, what a coincidence.
ええ。今日は昼前に集合って言われたでしょ？それで自分用にお弁当を作ったのよ。
Wow, senpai, you can cook?
あんたは、私は料理できなさそうって思ってたの？
I don't know, maybe you're too busy looking at surfing videos. Oh, no, it's nothing like that. You've never brought up cooking for yourself before.
ふん。それならいいけど。まあ、それはそれとして、ついでにって思って、響の分も作ったのよ。
Oh, I get it. She had made lunchboxes for two, but the person she planned to give it to hadn't shown up. Yeah, definitely. She was definitely planning to give it to Hibiki and not you. Which meant she was giving me the extra. Is it okay if I take it?
一人で二人分は食べる気にならないし、余らせてもこの陽気で帰る頃にはダメになっちゃうでしょ？なら、遠野に食べてもらった方がいいじゃない。
Makes sense. Senpai's wording and body language had been quite strained for a while now. It seemed meaningful, but if that's how it is, then I'll take you up on that. I may as well go along with Senpai's whims for the time being. Now that I'd opted for the wait-and-see approach, I meekly accepted her offering.
そう？よかった。気合い入れて作ったから。味はあんまり保証できないけど、どうぞ召し上がれ。
Thank you, Senpai. Thank you for the food that definitely was for Hibiki and not for you. The lunchbox was a little on the large side, and way more than Hibiki could probably eat. Oh, really? It must have been a mistake. She packed a little more than extra. Just, this was probably the instructor's, Senpai's father's lunchbox. So you're aware that the amount of food in the lunchbox is big enough, is the amount of food that you would expect for a guy to eat. I accepted the lunch and immediately opened the lid. Oh, wow, this looks incredible. Fried pork with ginger and fried chicken represented the light brown dishes, while omelette represented the yellow. The vegetables provided a great visual balance. Did you cut these into decorative shapes? You even added little details to the side dishes. Naturally, it wasn't like she could form the Japanese flag in the rice with a single pickled plum. Naturally, it wasn't like she could form the Japanese flag in the rice with a single pickled plum. What? She covered it in rice seasoning, then wrapped it in seaweed, forming the shape of a hay bale.
一応、夏バテ防止にちゃんと考えて作ってるのよ。ああ、でも、もし遠野の嫌いなものが入ってたらごめん。さすがにその情報は持ってなかったしさ。
Well, that's not surprising since you made this for Hibiki. Yeah, definitely made it for Hibiki.
そうだったわね。あの子、何でも好き嫌いなく食べるからさ。
It sounded like she was trying to laugh it off. Listen, bro, all I'm saying is, you made the observation that this is more food than Hibiki would normally eat, and that this is probably Nagiko's dad's lunchbox. So, are you gonna put two and two together and realize that, hang on a minute, this probably wasn't a lunchbox made for Hibiki. This lunchbox was much too big for Hibiki. See? And Senpai had been acting peculiar for a while now. Talk about suspicious. Hibiki was likely involved, but what were they scheming exactly? Yeah. Not to mention the fact that Hibiki told both Nagiko and you to come early. Meanwhile, she's nowhere to be found, and neither are any of the other club members. Senpai, is it okay if I eat this now? Eat this right now?
ちょっと待って。
Senpai. Uh-huh.
遠野も男の子なんだし、当然唐揚げは好きよね。それじゃあ。
Where are you going with this?
はい。
Oh. I thought she would give him more fried chicken, not that she would feed him. I thought you were trying to be inconspicuous about what you're planning. What is this? Senpai, why was she blushing bright red and pointing her chopsticks at me? And why was she saying,何
してるのよ。早く食べてくれないと、ずっとこのままなんだけど。
Sure. Well then, my heart roared violently in my chest, and my face was practically on fire.
ほら、
Fine, whatever. I'm not making sound. Wow, this tastes awesome. What is it? It tastes different from what I'd normally eat.
気づいた？肉の代わりに豆腐を使ってるのよ。高タンパク、低脂質にしてアスリート向けになっててね。
Wow, so that's why. Do you make food like this often?
普段から毎日作ってるって言いたいところだけど、今日はたまたまね。まあ、それでもちょくちょく料理の練習くらいはしてるけど。
Senpai was more feminine than I had thought. Okay, why don't I try this rolled omelet next?
待った！ほら、
No! Senpai held out her chopsticks again before I could move. Senpai,
何よ。
that's ridiculously. Why can't I say the word? Ridiculously embarrassing. Did you have to do this?
私だって恥ずかしいわよ。
Or do you have to do this?
でも誰かに食べさせるとき、普通はあんってしてあげるものなんでしょ？
So this either went two ways. Either Nagiko is doing this of her own accord, right? Because, you know, she looked up somewhere, or like this is just the intuition that she has of you should, you know, feed the person you like, right? To make them like you more or whatever. Or this is Hibiki's idea. This was Hibiki's plan. And she told Nagiko to do this. Who did you hear that from? I didn't need to ask though. Hibiki or Hijiri were likely to blame. Well, there's my answer. What crazy ideas were they putting into Senpai's head?
ほら、遠野、食べてくれないの？
She gazed upward and peered into my eyes. That gesture alone left me speechless.
はい。
More sound effects. The pressure from her gaze did me in, and I opened my jaw with an R.
どう？おいしい？
Yeah, very much so.
よかった。
Smiling just then had to be against the rules. You have to be kidding me, right? Wait, huh? Now, I am curious, right? Because Nagiko substituted the chicken for tofu, right? Because of its lower calories without sacrificing on protein. Did she do the same for the omelet? By making an egg white omelet? Right? Because it's the same thing. It serves the same purpose. Right? Removing the egg yolk won't drastically change the amount of protein in the omelet, but will lower the calories. So, you know, if you're gonna substitute chicken for tofu, you're gonna go the whole 9 yards, right?
どうかしたの?
Nah, no, I just got a feeling like someone's watching us. Maybe, you know, you probably should have had that feeling in Riri's route when you were being stalked the entire date you had with Riri. It had been faint, but I thought I had heard something. Or maybe his senses are improving because he's training with Nagiko, right? Yeah, that's it. It sounded like it came from the hallway.
いるわね。はあ、覗いてるとしたら、あの二人ね。響き、ひじり、バレてるから出てきなさい。もう、バレちゃったか。小日向先輩のせいっすよ。物音なんて立てるから。仕方ないでしょ？いいところだったんだから。
Hey, you two, what's the meaning of this? You said we needed to get to the club room for something urgent.
ちょっと待つっす、遠野先輩。これには海よりも深い理由があるっすよ。
It's because you want you and Nagiko to get together. How deep can that really be? Oh, try me.
それは、小日向先輩、どうぞっす。え？私？そうね。強いて言えば、面白そうだから。かしら。
Even a puddle is deeper. Because she did it because of the funny. Still, it confirmed my suspicions that they were behind all of this. Are you conspiring with them too, senpai?
違うわよ。私だって覗いてることまでは知らなかったし。遠野先輩とカイドウ先輩を二人きりにすること以外は特に決めてなかったんすよ。なので、カイドウ先輩には罪はないっす。そうね。
So?
でって何よ。
Why did you want us to be alone in the first place?
いやー、それは
Hibiki was hesitant to speak up, and her eyes wandered.
あれっす。先日の件。カイドウ先輩が走って帰った時、自分たちで何とかするって言ったじゃないっすか。
Oh, that. Having you act as a go-between then really helped.
それですけど、これを機に、お二人にお互いをよく知ってもらうべきだって考えたっす。そういうことなのよ。
Yeah. They're only stopping at the two of them getting to know each other better and definitely won't push them towards dating each other. That was actually a plausible reason.
それで、二人きりになったらどうなるのかって興味津々じゃなくて心配で。心配しなくても熱々だったっすね。別にそんなんじゃ。までするとは、恐れ入ったわ。
The two underclassmen were making fun of Kaido. Talk about a ridiculously rare sight. Well, I guess it's fine. It sounded like they were being considerate and had made time for the two of us to be alone.
でも、カイドウ先輩、念のために教えたあれ、やってないっすよね。そうよ、ナギ。なんでやらないの？あれをやれば、ユウだってイチコロなのに。あれはさすがに、ちょっと。
The thing? What's that supposed to be?
当の先輩もぜひともカイドウ先輩のあれを見たいっすよね。
I'm not really sure. If she's willing to show me, then I guess I'd like to see.
ほら、ナギ。ユウだってああ言ってるわよ。
恥ずかしいけど、やらなきゃいけないのよね。
I didn't think it was possible Kaido's face could get even redder than it was now. Yes? What was she about to do?
今からお弁当をもっと美味しくするわ。
No. Don't you dare do what I think you're gonna do. How so?
行くわよ。
Uh-huh.
美味しくなーれ。萌え萌えキュン。
Fuck off. Fuck off. Why were you coerced by Hibiki to say that? The second I spotted, Senpai bolted from the room at top speed.
あちゃー。やっぱ難易度高すぎたっすかね。
I get the feeling I just saw something incredible. What was this about just now? What was that about just now? It's incredibly adorable. So much so that my heart was experiencing its own version of... No, I'm not saying those 3 words. Or 2 words. The same held true for Kaido preparing a lunch for me and then feeding me, but it was brutal how absolutely unhinged Senpai had been today. And whose fault is that?
最悪だわ。絶対に完全に変人だと思われてる。もう遠野に合わす顔ない。大丈夫っすよ。手料理で胃袋をわしづかみ成功っすから。
誤算があったとすれば、ユウが想定外に牧年人だったことね。
まさかこんなに手強いと思わなかったっす。
If anything was a miscalculation, it was that Yu is more introverted than we expected. Hibiki, that applies to you more than mostly. And it is very obvious that this miscalculation applies mostly to you. First example, the common route. Second example, her route.
それで、次の作戦はナギの番だけど、準備できてる？
一応考えてあるけど、本当に大丈夫かな？
I don't know, if it really is a we,
駆け抜け青春スパーキング
then that doesn't bode well for Kiko's route. One of the girls with exposed skin shouted in unison beneath the big blue sky.
いい？行くわよ。せーの！
But only the girls. It's the beach.
ってちょっと言う！
So, where the fuck has Shinji been all this whole route? Like, we saw him at the start when he was quiet as shit, but where the fuck has he been?
青春部のみんなで盛り上がってるのに、何よそのしけた声は！
Don't be ridiculous. Heck, why are all of you so lively?
だって久しぶりに全員で集まれたんですから、テンションが上がるのも仕方ないと思います。
Kashima, you too? In a rare turn, everyone in the youth collective was in attendance today. Oh, really? There was always someone missing, so this was truthfully unusual.
諦めなさい遠野。
So, where's Shinji?
ああなった響きは誰にも止められないわ。
I guess if you had to say, that does sound like Hibiki.
それにテンションが上がってるのはあの二人だけじゃないわよ。
I followed Senpai's line of sight.
うわ、しおりちゃ
自信作です。
何あれ、無駄にすごいわね。
She jumped right into it the second we got to the beach.
なあ、りっちゃん。
Oh, there he is. I just needed to complain a bit, and he finally shows up.
何ですか、神楽坂先輩。
今日、なんかここ人多くない？
そりゃ夏休みですからね。私たち以外にもみんな泳ぎに来てるんじゃないかな。
なるほどな。女の人がたくさん。
There was a member of the group that seemed particularly gloomy. Gloomy. Shinji was as unwavering as ever.
ねえねえ、何？
何響、どうかした？
以前から思ってたけど、何っておっぱいの形、綺麗よね。
Is this the next step in Hibiki's plan? I couldn't help but spot it from that random comment. I glanced over at Senpai to see her blushed bright red, all while covering her chest. Wait. Yeah, her blushed bright red. See her blushed bright red. Blushed bright red. And it's over at Senpai to see her blush. Yeah, hang on, no. It's blush bright red while covering her chest with her hands.
いきなり何を言うのよ。
いや、だって、脱いだらすごいんだもん。ユウだってそう思うでしょ？
Brother. Oh, I know you're trying to fucking, rile up you, but it's still pretty fucking weird for a cousin to be saying that about her cousin. Yeah. That's when you pick. That's when you. Wait, yeah, that's when you pick to bring me into this? I feel like that line should be one of the lines that should have been bigger. You know what? You know what I'm trying to say, right? With the whole fucking sound effect and the shaky text and all, I cut it out. I've been trying not to think about it.
で、どうなのよ。あんただけ何がサーフィンしてたの知ってたんでしょ？ってことは、もう水着姿も見飽きちゃってる感じ？
そうなの？
It wasn't fair for her. It wasn't fair for her to make that face at that very moment. As far as her figure goes, I have no comment. But I do think you look good in a bikini. I think you're super cute. Senpai turned into a bright red. Turned to such a bright red, I almost expected an audible bam. What? Oh, right. But like a bomb. My face was just as red and toasty as hers.
ヒューヒュー！当の先輩が男を見せたっすね。よかったじゃない、ナギ。ユウに褒めてもらえて。それにしても、本当に大きいし、こことか全然お肉がついてないわよね。
響お腹つままないで。
いやいや、つまもうとしても全然つまめてないから。
おー、すげえっす。
I mean, what did you expect? What? Is it not normal for Nagiko to have a toned... I was going to say abs, but she doesn't really have abs. But, it's the same region, right? A toned waistline. Sure, you can go with that. Considering that, she's she's pretty fucking active every fucking day.
内臓脂肪が全然ないのでしょうか。羨ましいです。ぐぬぬ。すっごい敗北感がする。
The others leaned in close when they noticed Hibiki was groping at Senpai. Everyone, Shinji excluded, appeared to be jealous of Senpai's figure. Well, maybe if all of you also trained Aikido, maybe you would have a similar figure. Except for the boob department. That one comes down to genetics and body proportions and stuff like that.
どうやったらこんな羨ましいボディになるんすかね
But toned abs that can be trained.
コツとかあるなら教えてほしいです。
サーフィンの効果とか
No! All of the girls gasped at the same time.
サーフィンって波に乗りながら腰をくねらせるわよね。はい。こう、クイッとバランスを取るのに。
あれは別に腰をくねらせてるわけじゃ。はっ
あれっすよ。乗馬と同じ原理っす。
Didn't we just... Well, I'm not saying just, but didn't we have a scene where Nagiko literally explained that she would use a skate surfer to train her core for Aikido. So she had her figure was like this before she started surfing. So okay, yeah, no. Let's not include the actual sport that she's been training her entire life. Let's just say surfing is one of the reasons why she's so toned.
波で上下左右に振られるのを腹筋とかを総動員してバランスを取るっすから。
おー、確かにそれっぽい。
おーい、聞いてる？
私、サーフィンダイエットって言葉を聞いたことあります。それだ！ダイエット効果か。ごくり。
Oh, who would have guessed that who would have guessed that a diet would help you put on less fat or have less fat on your body? Wow.
だから、カイドウ先輩はあそこまでナイスパーティー。
自分、サーフィンに興味が出てきたっす。
You know what? Another sport that Nagiko also does. Another sport that Nagiko also does that requires a functional. Not really the right word, but that, you know, a sport that really trains the core, right? Her abs. It's called Aikido. It's called the martial arts that she's been training her entire life. You know.
サーフィンは腰回りは引き締まるけど、逆に肩とか背中は筋肉つくって全然聞いてないわね、みんな。
This route has literally made all of the girls forget that Nagiko does Aikido. They have not fucking mentioned Aikido once. The only person who's brought it up was fucking Nagiko. When she was explaining why she has a skate surfer. And Senpai's words had largely fallen on deaf ears. Senpai, I don't think they're going to listen to anything you say.
仕方ないか。女の子なんだし。実際にサーフィンやってて何十キロも痩せたっていう人もいるし。
Really?
遠野だって練習したんだからわかるでしょ？パドリングで沖に出るだけでも重労働だって。
You have a point. I mean, yeah, swimming does that in general. And then surfing is... that's the problem. I can't really, you know, verify her statement with surfing specifically, but I can with swimming, because swimming is a full body workout kind of sport. You laid face down on the board and scooped the water with your arms to make headway into the water. It had been pretty rough.
しかし、これはどうしたものかしらね。
Why not have everyone try it out for themselves at least once? We can rent boards.
それしかないか。
She let out a small sigh. Even so, a small smile rose to her lips. If I had to guess, she was probably happy to have the hobby she liked acknowledged.
はい、全員注目。興味があるようだから、今日はみんなでサーフィンをすることにします。
はい先輩、自分らでもできるんすか？
多分、いきなり波に乗れって言われても無理ね。こればっかりはいい波が来る運も関係してくるから。でもまあ、どんなものかは体験できると思うわよ。何より沖に出るのも運動になるから痩せられるわ。でも海は危険でいっぱいなの。遊びとはいえちゃんと注意事項は守ってもらうわよ。
注意事項ですか？
そう、これは命に関わることだから絶対ね。もし聞けないようならサーフィンは中止するわ。
それはそうよね。夏になるたんびに海難事故の話は聞こえてくるし。
The idea of getting into an accident was terrifying, especially when we would be out in open water.
細かいことはこれから説明するけど、くれぐれも痩せるためだからって無茶はしない。これだけは絶対に守るように。
はい。じゃあ事故に気をつけながら今日は青春部全員で波乗りよ。賛成ですけど、ボードはどうするのですか？
レンタルやってるから借りてしまいましょう。一人一枚ってのもどうかと思うから合体制にしてと。
Senpai organized everything from the ground up. What's more, because we were all beginners, she thought it best for us to use longboards. I guess it'll all be fine as long as we leave this to Senpai. Better just keep quiet and watch how things panned out. That should also be present tense.
どうの、お願いがあるんだけど。
Huh? What's with you guys? Shinji had been tasked with board transportation duty, and the girls were supposed to be headed to the rental shop. I was left behind to watch everyone's personal belongings.
どのボードにするかの話し合い中よ。で、今のうちにあんたにお願いがあって。
If there's something I can do, then sure.
難しいことじゃないわ。今日はサーフィンすると思ってなかったから日焼け止め塗ってなかったの。
Nagiko, you do realize you still need sunscreen even if you aren't surfing? Nagiko, this... Don't... Hang on. Don't tell me this is also part of Hibiki and Kika's elaborate plan. Alright? Cause like, this is a lame ass fucking excuse if it's actually real. What do you mean you didn't put on sunscreen before going to the beach? Brother.
だから、遠野に塗るのをお願いできないかなって。
Sunscreen? Not that she mentioned it, she wasn't wearing the outfit she usually surfed in. She had a lot of exposed skin, so sunscreen would probably be a necessity. Is it okay for me to put it on you? Wouldn't it be better if one of the other women did it?
遠野がいいの。
Like I said, there is no fucking reason that she wouldn't have already put on sunscreen. And now she is being very fucking adamant about the fact that it has to be you that puts the sunscreen on her, instead of another girl. This has to be because of Hibiki.
いや、今みんなボード選びに出払ってるし、頼めるのソウノしかいないから。だから、お願いしていい？
Senpai retrieved a small bottle from her bag and shoved it toward me.
自分でやろうにも、ほら、背中は届かないから。
Like, it's the fact that she has sunscreen on her. She didn't have to buy it from the store, right? From the same store that they're renting the surfboards, right? She already had sunscreen on her. So there is either this is once again gone either one of two ways. Either this was something that Nagiko, well, yeah, I guess Nagiko, Hibiki, and Kika planned from the start, and that's why they've gone to the beach, right? There was no mention of surfing in the original plan, but now that there's surfing involved, you can use surfing as the excuse to get you to put sunscreen on Nagiko. I mean, I just brought in the second one is that this is a plan that Hibiki suddenly came up with when surfing was mentioned, right? Because now that all of the other people are at the rental shop, now it can just be Nagiko and you together, and then, right, Hibiki comes up with this plan that, oh, Nagiko needs to put on sunscreen. Nagiko needs to put on sunscreen, and oh, well, I guess you has to do it instead of any of the other girls, right? Are you really okay with this? I see. Okay. I'd be happy to help then. Well, there's my CG. Putting sunscreen on a woman would be a first for me. I would be surprised if it wasn't. The fact that the fact it was Senpai made it all the more nerve-wracking. However,
じゃあ、お願いとの。
she untied the lace of her swimsuit, leaving her top half off. Kaido's face flushed bright pink when she laid down on the sheet beneath her. Although she was a surfer, her back was perfectly white with zero signs of anti-tan, and that's because she wears a full-body swimsuit, so there is no possible way for her back to be exposed to the sun. Well, it kinda is, through the swimsuit, but not in a way that would tan it. Her smooth skin without a single flaw was openly exposed.
どうぞ、やり方、わかるわよね。
Yeah, I'll be fine. I only had a rough idea, but that shouldn't pose any problems. Alright, I'm going to touch you, okay? My mouth went dry from tension. I grabbed the bottle, making sure not to let that show on the surface regardless. I squeezed a modest amount onto my palms and spread it across my skin, infusing the cool liquid with my body heat. Touch. I didn't realize you'd get it on her ass too. But my bad.
ごめん、驚いただけだから。冷たいからもう少し温めてもらってもいい？
Oh, sorry about that. He is warming it up with his body heat. Apparently, I hadn't infused enough of my own body heat into the sunscreen. Perhaps my impatience was partially to blame.
謝らなくていいわよ。大丈夫だから、気にせずに続けて。
Got it. I warmed the fluid up a little longer this time. The fluid. Really? When I touched her back with my fingers again, she bounced sharply in place. Despite practicing Aikido, her back was surprisingly slender. Finally mentioned. Aikido's finally been mentioned. Finally been mentioned again by someone other than Nagiko. I could feel how soft and warm she was through my fingers.
ねえ、殿。じっとされると落ち着かない。
It would be weirder if she wasn't warm considering she's been in the sun this whole time.
塗ってくれないの？
Yeah, sorry. I'll do it right now. I crept my fingers along her skin.
殿、ちょっとくすぐったい。もっとゆっくり手のひら全体で塗って。
Like this. I gingerly ran the full length of my hand along her fair skin. As such, the slippery liquid was spread thinly across Senpai's back. Senpai's skin was incredible. It was sleek, with a texture like smooth silk. This was obvious, but it was absolutely nothing like my own skin. Her body twisted around. Did that tickle?
大丈夫。
I'll keep going then. I was positively engrossed and inadvertently increased the speed of my caresses. Some part of me knew I needed to be careful, but it was a struggle. Up there, like this. Slide. More sound effects. And more moaning. I had to wonder why somebody's breathing sounded so erotic. Because I'll tell you why it has to sound so erotic. Because this scene always has to sound erotic. It always has to be. The girl always has to moan when the main character puts sunscreen on her. Listening to the sounds she made was enough to make my heart race. Should I say something? I wanted to avoid making things awkward though. I'd better just exercise some self-control.
ねえ、殿。もっと下の方も塗ってくれる？
Oh no, I already got some on your ass. I don't need to go over there again. How low should I go exactly?
腰のあたりまででいいから。
Got it. I slowly migrated my hands from her back toward her butt. You're so slender. My fingertips had reached the most slender point of her waistline. It took everything I had to not yelp in surprise from how sleek she was.
そう？響も言ってたけど、普通じゃない？
I really don't think this can be called average. Senpai's waistline was slender. It was velvety to the touch. All it would take was a somewhat exaggerated movement of my hands, and I would definitely touch as far as her stomach. No, I wouldn't get any weird ideas. Don't get any weird ideas now. I kept myself in check, but couldn't help but remember what Hibiki and the rest had said before. That was just how attractive of a waistline she had. Simply applying sunscreen like this was nearly enough to send my thoughts spiraling elsewhere. Was it ticklish of her? Senpai's body twisted and turned beneath me. Her upper body elevated slightly, and I could nearly see the very bulges Hibiki had been referring to not too long ago.
ごめんね。変な声出ちゃって。
It's fine, no problem at all. I'd been staring at nothing but her back until a moment ago. But Senpai really did look soft all over. Not good. I had to do something, or I was going to end up with a semi. Yeah, that would be bad for the CG. I needed to finish applying sunscreen on. I needed to finish applying sunscreen and quick. Okay, well, it's not helping that you're making these sounds. Focus. I continued moving my hands along her body to avoid any weird feelings.
全然沖にたどり着けないんだけど。
響、もっと手で漕ぐの。波に負けちゃダメよ。
私、もう、ダメです。しおりちゃん、そこで力尽きたら海に沈んじゃうよ。
Shiori's got the VTuber physique. The VTuber stamina.
サーフィンってすごいきついんですね。
I could hear everyone from the youth collective having a fun time. I listened to their voices while absent-mindedly gazing at Senpai. She was so soft. Her skin had been warm and smooth like silk, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. The more I fought those thoughts and feelings, away, the hotter my face got.
ちょっとトーノ、一人でサボるな。私一人じゃ全員見切れないから、あんたも手伝いなさい。
My heart was positively racing. This whole thing was crazy, right? Sure, I'm on it. I had to wonder how I should face Senpai from here on out.
恥ずかしかった。でもちょっといい感じだったかも。
I could feel Tono's touch on my back. I didn't get a chance to see his face since I was laying face down.
多分私のことを女の子だって意識してくれてたわよね。そうだと嬉しいんだけど。
You didn't need him to touch you all over for him to recognize you as a woman, alright? You should have just shown him your tits. I mean, you should have just had a wardrobe malfunction, you know? You should have gone out surfing in your bikini and then, oh, whoops, I slipped and, oh no, my bikini fell off. That was a pretty embarrassing stunt I pulled though, wasn't it? My cheeks grew hot just thinking about it.
いけない。もっと集中しないと。
So it wasn't a plan that Hibiki had come up with. It was a plan that Nagiko came up with. As much fun as I had this afternoon, I had to focus on Aikido now. There was a risk of injury if I let myself get distracted during practice.
みんなサーフィンを楽しんでくれてたわよね。
Surfing was the next thing that came to mind once I shook away my thoughts of Tono. Although dieting had been the catalyst, it felt like they really enjoyed themselves.
まだ知られたくないって思ってたけど。
Although dieting had been the catalyst. Right, I guess.
ああやってみんなで楽しむのもいいかも。トーノの言う通り、堅くなに秘密にする必要はなかったのかな。あ、でも二人だけの秘密じゃなくなったのは残念かも。二人きりで会う理由もなくなっちゃうし。って私またトーノのこと考えてるし。
Is this what love is like? Where all you think about is the other person? And Tono did look good in his swimsuit though. His hands were bigger than I thought when he rubbed them around my back and incredibly warm. No, don't smoke, Nagiko. You could be happy as you want, but there are things you need to reflect on too.
ナギコよ、帰ってきていたのか。
お父さん、先ほど帰ってきました。
ああ。
どうかしたの？
Dad was staring straight at me. I didn't think my uniform was scruffed up or anything.
何かいいことでもあったのか？浮かれているように見えてな。日焼けこそしていないようだが、鼻の頭が少し赤くなっているぞ。
I just kept on thinking about how I had Tono put sunscreen on for me. Perhaps I failed in covering up the necessary areas.
それに、私に隠れてサーフィンをやっているのだろ？
お父さん、それは。
ああ、誤解するな。お前を厳しく育ててきたが、好きなことを禁止しようとは思わん。趣味にサーフィン。いいじゃないか。
そう。よかった。
Well, at least he's not that uptight. But possibly one of the worst kept secrets if her dad found out so fucking easily. I was overcome with relief. Part of me assumed he would forbid me from surfing.
だが、なんだ。サーフィンということは、水着になるのだろう？年頃の娘を持つ身としてはいろいろ心配がだな。
お父さんが私を心配してくれるの？
当たり前だろう。合気道の師範である前に、私はお前の親だぞ。
大丈夫。心配いらないわ。ナンパ男なんてひとひねりでどうにでもできるもの。そのための護身術、そのための合気道でしょ？
それはそうだが。
I couldn't help but laugh at my father's wariness.
ともあれだ。青春をするのもいいが、気は抜かぬようにな。今の様子で稽古をすれば、大怪我につながりかねん。
I shared similar sentiments. Having Dad point the same thing out took me aback all over again.
ゆくゆくはこの道場を継ぎたいと思っているのだろう？
はい。
ならば、合気道の鍛錬をおろそかにしないように。
しっかりと心に留めておきます。
Yeah, I couldn't keep my head in the clouds all the time. I may have gotten a little too overexcited about Tono and surfing. I needed to buckle down and focus. Knowing me, I had a feeling I would be liable to make some sort of huge mistake.